What's up, people? Welcome to another edition of the New Breed Podcast, the world's best music podcast, talking about everything brutal, new death, hard slam, grind, thrash, core, metal. One half of your hosting duo, Jay Horsecow from a rainy southern New Jersey. Tim, my partner in crime, Tim Anderson Jr. How's it going?
Great.
Fantastic. This week's special guest, we have the lead singer from Sanguisugabogg. I hope I said that right. Devin Swank. Devin, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, Jay, thanks for having me. Stoked to be a part of this.
We are stoked to have you here, man. So for those listeners, before we started recording, I was telling Devin I caught them. I've caught them a couple times in the past year. I think the first tour was I think my first post-COVID show was you guys in Frozen Soul when you played Kung Fu Necktie in Philly. But I was telling Devin the show at Vegas, they opened Psycho Las Vegas. And you know, here was the thing. I want to pick your brain, Devin. What did you think? They didn't have the curtains closed, so it wasn't a dark room. I actually thought that was really fucking cool. I sent Tim a picture. I'm like, yo, Sanguisugabogg is on stage to open Psycho Las Vegas. We got the giant Vegas screen skyline in the background. Like, this couldn't be any more metal if they fucking tried. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was cool because it was like it almost kind of looked like an event center. And I've never gotten to play anything like that at all. So that was pretty tight. It was cool, like eating breakfast, taking my morning shit, and then all of a sudden getting up on stage like right away. It was badass.
Convenient, right? Not crawling out of a van. Did you stick around all weekend, Devin, or did you guys haul out?
Yeah, we were on tour, but every other band that was on our package got to play like different nights. So yeah, we ended up staying the whole weekend. I wasn't gonna miss King Diamond. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Jay was probably sleeping by that time.
Dude, that first day, man. I mean, we got there at like 10:30. Doors opened at we got there at 10 because doors opened at 10:30. You guys went out at like 11. I think I must have made it till halfway through Nothing set. It was like 10:30, and I was like, yo, I can't even. My feet are killing me. Like, there's no way I make it to Carpenter Brute. Like, I'm going to fuck to bed. Like, and every day I got earlier and earlier. But dude, I'm like 50 years old, Tim. You're gonna bust my fucking balls, right? Like, I'm too old to be doing this all day metal stuff, right? The funniest story, man, Devin, you probably saw these guys. There was a group of kids in full-on corpse paint, and they were flat out hammered at 11 a.m. They disappeared, and I didn't see these dudes all day. And then they all showed up literally looking like death for Austrian Siege Machine. Like, they were in the bar with one eye open, like falling over. It was the funniest thing. I'm like, yo, these guys got to go to bed. Like, what the fuck? So I guess I'm going to try not to ask all the stupid fucking questions you probably get in 8,000 different PR press packets. But have you hit the point, man, where you kind of stopped and said, holy shit, like, we have just fucking taken over the world? Like, has there been a moment, Devin, where you're kind of sitting there, like you said, taking your morning shit with your phone in your hand, going, yo, this is kind of fucking wild?
I don't know, man. Me and everyone else in the band, we stay pretty humble. We actually don't, we don't keep our eyes on things. We don't realize how much of a big deal it is, I guess, until we hit the stage. I think a real oh shit moment for us was when last year when we toured with Cannibal Corpse. We played the Fillmore in Philly, and we played like 2,600 people, and there wasn't one single person standing still our whole set. And I was like, all right, this is maybe everyone's right. Like, maybe this is catching on. And I remember we were so stoked that entire set. We're all looking at each other like, I can't believe this shit right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know if you remember, I had you on my other podcast before on Ill Street News a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, you're friends with like Knox and Jordan, right?
Yeah. I thought back then that was probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. I thought you guys were blowing up then, but nowadays it's like, dude, that name is fucking everywhere. It's crazy, man.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a ride, man. And and we have a big year ahead of us this year too. And it's all been really cool, dude. It's I'm just hoping the band just keeps on growing as time goes on, man.
Yeah, I mean, how old are you again?
I'm 28. I'll be 29 in September.
So shit. 28 touring with Corpse. I mean, that's got to be like growing up. I'm assuming Corpse is a huge like band for you. Maybe influence on the band too, but then touring with them, like that's fucking unbelievable. Like being that age, like you go out there and you're like, am I really like doing this right now?
Yeah. It was a real like pinch me kind of moment when the very first show that we played with them, and I'm there like literally right next to their guitar tech, and Rob Barrett's like looking at me and making jokes with me and shit on stage, and I'm just like, I am sharing the road with Cannibal Corpse right now. You got to be fucking kidding me. And,
yeah, it's wild, man.
Yeah, it was insane. And the rooms that we played with them too were, just standard rooms aside from the festival that we played in Philly. So these were rooms that were like, some of them were 300 to 500 cap. I think in North Carolina we played like an 1100 cap, but still to see Cannibal Corpse in a 300 cap room, that's fucking nuts.
That's kind of wild. It's really kind of wild. That is a room that is probably 2, if not 3 sizes too small for a band of that magnitude.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, even in the US, for sure, because it was nuts. Like, we would see lines like circle around the place and everything too. Like, even when it came time for like load in and bus check and shit like that, there were still people like, I gotta say hi to this person. I gotta say hi to this person. And we never we never really got to tour with the band at that scale until that moment. Unless I'd put Terror up there too. That was a cool ass tour. That was probably my favorite, honestly. But touring with Cannibal Corpse and being like the direct support slot, it was crazy. I popped my cherry on that.
That is nuts. And I'm glad you brought up the Terror tour, because that was, I mean, who was it? It was Terror, Kubla Khan, you guys, and Pain of Truth.
Fuck yeah, Pain of Truth.
Right. So that's 4 bands all hitting on all cylinders, literally trying to beat each other stage, like play each other off the stage. Like I didn't get to the Philly show. I was traveling for work, but the friends I know that went said, yo, it was fucking bedlam. It was absolute bedlam. So that. I mean, do you think, Devin? I mean, Tim and I, we're old, right? Tim, make an old joke, whatever. We talk about the lost art of the mixed bill, where you bring in bands that are different and put them all on the same bill and see what kind of audience you can draw. That's a fairly mixed bill. Do you think we're going to see a resurgence of some of the, not trying to be insulting, but grow some balls and get somebody out, chant?
Yeah.
They out.
Oh, did he freeze?
Yeah, he froze.
Oh shit! My question was, do you think you're going to see more? We're going to see more mixed bills and more bands trying to take out younger bands. That there's a chance that this younger band plays better than I do.
Yeah, for sure, man. I remember seeing All Out War with Internal Bleeding, and like the East Coast death metal and hardcore scene, they always mixed bills a lot. I noticed that. And then here in the last like 2 years, they've been really like, well, not 2 years, but year, they've been really going hard with it. And I think that's making a comeback, man. What's crazy is like there's this resurgence of cool straight up hardcore and death metal now, and then there's also like deathcore bands that are coming out playing actual like OG style deathcore too, that I've noticed. Like there's it seems like the early 2000s and late 90s is like back.
Right. New metal, fucking OG deathcore, the grunge stuff, Narrowhead and all that stuff is making a resurgence. You're right. There's everything that's old is new again. I also think, I mean, do you think going out with bands that are not in your niche, you kind of get exposed to a wider audience? Because I like Tim and I have talked about bands like you, bands like Undepth, bands like 200 Stab Wounds. You guys will go out with a hardcore band. You'll go out with a band it's not a bill of 5 of the same type. And I personally think that's probably a great cheat code to expand your audience, because you're getting in front of people who may not necessarily ever have bought the ticket otherwise. I mean,
Yeah.
do you think that's like a cheat to success?
I mean, it's definitely helped us, you know, and I will say, like, when we're playing on our field and it is like a straightforward, like what you would expect type of tour. We usually do better when it comes to like merch and things like that, but definitely being the odd band out on bills, it keeps everything interesting. And then if you are able to like win over a crowd, you know, those are people that'll fuck with you, and you know you'll have people talk to their friends like, yeah, I don't really fuck with death metal, but I did see this band and I do like that band, and it's definitely been a big, I guess, a big key in what's been helping us and everything too. Like we all come from like kind of like we come from a big DIY background, not necessarily hardcore. Like Seth and Cody have played in hardcore bands. I played in hardcore bands prior. My thing was always like crust punk. Like I liked bands like Tragedy, His Hero Is Gone, Skit System and stuff like that. And then yeah, same with Drew. You know, he played in I consider it like beer throwing punk, like OG hardcore style stuff. But yeah, we've always had a knack for that kind of style of music. So I think it only made sense that we toured with like bands in that realm.
And I'm guessing too that helps with the merch sales too, because I mean, let's be honest here, touring in 2023, merch is huge for you guys to get to, you know, to put gas in the van and shit like that. So I mean, getting more heads that wouldn't listen to you guys before and then selling merch to them, it's a huge help as well. So
yeah, absolutely. You know, probably the best tip I can ever give, you know, any band that's starting to tour and travel out there is definitely put out content and print out as much shit as you can. You know, that way, because you know anybody can look up stuff on their phone and listen to y'all, but you know if they have something physical that they can wear and they can rock, and word of mouth goes a long way, and definitely having like merchandise and stuff out there, it helps keep building the scene and expanding, you know, the style of music.
I don't understand how bands do it without it, right? Like there's some of these bands don't have an online merch store, don't have stuff. It's like, I mean, because like you said, man, when I find a new band that I, you know, I'll send it to Tim and Tim, like I sent that to you 3 months ago, you fucking idiot. When I find something that I like, a band that I like, the first thing I do is I go out and buy a t-shirt. I find their merch store and I buy a t-shirt because I'm not buying your CD because, you know, I don't really keep physical. I don't have the space in the house, but I'll buy a fucking shirt. I'll buy a hat. I'll rock that. And bands that don't do that, I think that's like the biggest duh. Like why? It's a gimme. Just put your shit out there and somebody will buy it.
For sure. And another thing to touch on too is like you help build the scene. You help stay in DIY too, because you're putting small like printing presses and stuff to good use, and they get more clientele, they get more money, and it helps them build up too with you at the same time. So it's all friends being there for friends. It's pretty sick.
Like you said, it's the DIY piece, and much like the white collar work I do, it's really who you know. That's how you get successful. It's who you can connect to. Like, hey, who do we know in such and such that knows this, that, or the other thing? It's how the world goes around.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was a pencil pusher, I got pretty far in life. You know, just being friends with so and so or going out with so and so, and yeah. Same kind of rules apply with you know, music and arranging tours and stuff. If you're a good stand-up person, then obviously that band or whoever works for that band's going to want to fuck with you and keep you busy. So it pays off.
I read or heard some interview. I forget who it was. It was somebody in a younger band talking about how that's why they loved playing festivals, like the big festival stuff, because they get to meet a whole slew of people. So those are all new people that you now have, for lack of a better analogy, in your Rolodex that you know. Hey, I ran into them at, you know, in Psycho Las Vegas. Let me call them. They're out of Portland, Oregon. Let me see who they know out there who can get us on the show. You know, it's, you know, everybody helping each other out. That's really cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. It's been very keen on as we grow as a band and as professionals is to be nice to people and keep in contact, and because you never know when that band's coming out and doing another headliner if they're gonna contact your guys and make sure to lock you in, and it all goes around, man, and it's pretty sick. That's something when we get big enough and have enough steam underneath us, all my friends' bands, all the homies, they're gonna get that call for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to ask you, Devin, how far out now with everybody hitting the road and everybody needing a van, all that, how far out do you actually book a tour? Like, do you know 9 months in advance? Can you say that, okay, 9 months from now, I'll be on tour with this person, a year from now, probably this? Like, is it really that far out?
Yeah. I mean, it's still January right now, and we're booked all the way through December already. So we have like the whole year planned out, unless there's things can change and everything too. But yeah, like as far as like fest appearances and tours already confirmed, there's some openings there, but you don't want to interfere with like a radius clause and things like that. But
Yeah.
but yeah, as of right now, we're booked all up until December of
That
this
is
year.
awesome. That is
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm hyped.
So sorry to cut you off. Good. Oh, all right.
Yeah, I was
So
just
I know on the previous album there was that thing out about how you guys were taking the acid and going in the studio and shit. So this go around, how was the recording process this time?
uh yeah, I mean, Cameron, our old guitar player, was probably like eating a lot of acid. I mean, we do our fair share of all kinds of stuff, but
You
um,
don't have to talk about that. I was just curious
yeah,
about if you guys went into the recording, like writing process again,
yeah.
like that.
We wrote actually a lot of this album on the road.
Oh
Um,
shit. Okay.
yeah, when lockdowns and everything became lifted, we had a song in our back pocket. It was that necrosexual deviant that we wrote and kept in the set. As soon as we got back into touring in 2021. And then when we started touring with Nile and Incantation from February to March of last year, we had these like small like Boss Katana amps, and we were writing riffs, for what we were going to carve out for the next full length. And then in between tours, like we spent night and day with each other, writing together. And even between tours, like we have the luxury to rehearse at our home studio. Like any money that we profit or come up on from touring, we put it to microphones and amplifiers, and we put it to what we're building. A pretty sick like studio, and so any ideas we have, we're able to record it like right then and there, and it sounds really good.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
Your drummer records the records, right?
yeah, yep,
Okay.
yep. Cody, he is a cool thing about Cody, man. He's a huge savant. I'll give you guys like a little fun fact here. He plays every instrument you could think of. The dude, for his when he was 4 years old, he entered a talent show, and he played "Over the Mountain" by Ozzy Osbourne on guitar.
Jesus Christ.
So he was playing Randy Rhoads licks at 4 years old.
Jesus. The guitar is like this big, like you can barely get his Jesus.
So he's
Oh shit.
he's our Rain Man. Like he could, you give him an idea, you give him a direction, and he'll take it and just like blow your mind to pieces. And yeah, when we rehearse, we spend like 2 to 3 days with each other at that time, and from sun up to sundown, we practice, and we also like doing the right riffs. So we'll get the click track rolling, and then we'll start just brainstorming riffs, and then we work on that either individually. We'll take it back home. We call it homework, and we're like, this part could go here, and this part could go there. We constantly talk to each other all the time. Like I can't get away from them even if I wanted to. And that's how we came up with this shit. So like this album, you know, in contrast to the one previously, you know, Tortured Whole, we had a like a deadline, we had a timer over our heads. We were rushed into a lot of things. With this record, we wanted everything to be so perfect to our standpoint that we actually delayed a lot of the production. Like I think we delayed it 4 or 5 times and had to push the deadlines back, you know, back and back and back, so we could put out something that we're really stoked about. And you know, in return, we ended up something that we're very proud of, something we all put our hearts and a lot of us into.
Yeah, the record's great, man.
Thanks, man. Oh yeah.
That's awesome. I wish more bands did that, right? Pushed back and said, no, we're not ready. We're going to do it when it's ready. And, you know, Tim and I always talk about the Al Jurgensen autobiography for Ministry, what a fucking lunatic he was, and how they spent $750,000 of the label's money on drugs. And when the label finally said, where's the album? They sent them Jesus Built My Hot Rod. And they went, oh my God, this is amazing. And they said, yeah, can we get another million? And we need another year. I mean, like, bands I would think they should do that, right? Because to your point, Devin, you're going out on the road, and we talked about everybody else is going out on the road. You got to have a good product that you really, I would think you got to have a good product you really feel comfortable in, because that's your bread and butter.
Exactly. And, you know, and when you're in the band, your first and foremost priority is putting out music that you love, that you're happy with, and that you're fine with playing for years and years to come. You know, the people around you, your peers and the people that work for you, all they see is dollar signs for the most part. And, you know, a label's kind of looked at as a bank. They give you money, so in return, they can make money. And it's like, hell, you don't even have to give us the money like right away. Let us make something that we're stoked about. And in return, like, you're not going to get something that's half-assed. You're going to get something that you're hyped about too, and you're going to be stoked to promote it. So, you know, us having to push things back, even though like some people were like, man, like, can you try at least? And it's like, we are trying, like, but
right.
But we want to be happy with everything. So I think that's important, especially for a lot of young bands that are signing with big labels. You know, don't get intimidated by deadlines, because the number one thing to you guys should be playing the songs, and you want to like what you're playing. You don't want to think that you half-assed it on any song that you wrote.
And to that point, one of the things that I think makes you guys stand out, and the comparison I always make, is the Black Dahlia Murder, in the sense of you look like you're up there having fun. You know, Trevor, God rest his soul, he always looked like he was having fun. And bands like you and bands like Undeath, the bands that you're up there and you're smiling, you're having a good fucking time, and you're playing what is arguably like incomprehensible music to 99% of the human population. But yeah, you're having a fucking good time doing it. That comes out in the live show. That comes out in the recorded music. And as a fan, that's the stuff where I'm like, yo, these guys are having a fucking fun time. That's a band that I want to go see live. I mean, I'm all for Behemoth and the stage show and, you know, get out the candelabra and the corpse paint. But there's something to be said about a bunch of dudes on stage who look like they could have been at the bar sitting next to you, and they just, well, time to get up on stage, and they fucking slay. There's just something about that.
Yeah, man. It's not even arguably the greatest feeling in the world. It just blatantly is that. And, you know, I can't compare it to anything else. It's better than jizzing. And there's nothing more empowering than going into, you know, a packed house, asses to elbows, and calling a group of people motherfucker and watching them just beat the shit out of each other, all for the love of what music that you're playing. And it's the greatest feeling in the entire world, man. And that's why we do it, and that's why we hardly ever turn down a tour, because it's, you know, it's not to gas up our ego or anything, but it's something we've loved doing. And, you know, the last like 2 years ago, something like that as fun as that, and we thought that would always be there, was taken away from us. So to have it back and to have it be bigger than ever, it's pretty badass. It made up for a lot of lost time.
Yeah.
It definitely is bigger than ever. Like so many shows sell out, and I've never seen shit move so fast. Every show I go to was packed. The last show I saw the end of last year was it was Loathe in Philly, and that was legit sold out. They moved into a bigger room. It's sold out again. Everybody was packed, having the time of their lives. And I think, to your point, Devin, not having it for 2 years kind of makes you realize that, man, I really do miss this stuff. Like, this really is a vital part of me. And it's you see it in everybody's faces. Like, it's a whole room of people smiling. I mean, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I missed it so much, and it's funny because, like, as soon as Ohio lifted the mask mandate, I was like, sick, I'm gonna have a show at my house. And at that time, I lived in a punk house. It was a fire station, and we opened up the garage, which, you know, it used to fit 6 fire engines, so it's a huge garage. And we gutted the whole thing out, and we had like 700 kids there.
God damn.
It was sick.
Insane.
The cops didn't stop by to shut it down or anything. We partied until like 3 a.m. And
that's like those LA shows that we saw with like Section 8 or wherever, where they were playing under an overpass, and it looked like Mad Max shit. That is awesome.
Yeah. It was just like that. It was also it was 200 stab wounds, like, first ever show. So, like, you know, they as they go on, I'll always have that over them. Like, yo, you played my garage. So, but yeah, man, and it's cool because, like, a lot of my friends too also came out of show retirement, because it used to be tooth and nail trying to get people to come out, be like, yo, come on, dude. And we're like, I'll see him next time. And it's like, wow, it might not be a next time.
Yeah,
you know,
catch him on 856.
Yeah, which it doesn't make it probably does make some people lazy, others it doesn't. But yeah, I can just watch the video and get the same. It's not even the same experience. So let me ask you, Devin, who's on your bucket list? Like, who would be one of those, oh my God, I got to pinch myself, I'm opening for X or I'm touring with Y? Who's on that short list of, like, dude, this is me dying happy on stage and I have no regrets?
Shit. Well, some of them we've already played with. You know, like, we got to play with Suffo in New York. That was sick. Yeah, man. I'd say Hatebreed is on that list, just because they were such a vital band to me growing up. Oh man, I kind of look at, like, arena bands would probably be up there. Like, if we ever got to play even like a separate stage, but played a festival with, like, a Metallica, or even the Midlife Crisis Pantera reunion, like, that's I would shit a literal brick house, and, like, I'd be hyped. So yeah, I'd say probably, like, bands like that. As far as, like, in the realm of death metal, you know, we got to play with Suffocation, but definitely doing a tour with them, it would be like a huge highlight. It's my favorite death metal band of all time.
We should have Tim. We should have Devin on with Hunter Young, and they could debate the best Suffocation albums. He's always telling us, guys, I want to come on, and we're going to do a deep dive into Suffocation. And I'm like, which album? And he goes, their entire catalog. We're like, oh, okay. Okay, we'll just go album by album.
I'm fucking down for it, man. I wanted to ask. So I seen that you guys had the album mixed by Kurt Ballou. So how is it working with him?
Dude, dream come true, man. We're all huge Converge fans, especially me and Cody. I grew up going to Converge shows. I saw them when I was 13, and blew my mind then, blows my mind now. And the fact that Kurt Ballou even said yes, to an email chain that we weren't in, is like sick. And then we got to, like, email him ourselves, give him feedback and stuff. And it's just like, man, how do I like tell this dude that he's God without like an absolute like fangirl about it? So we literally started the email like, just so you know, we have every single CD you've ever been on, and we're huge. All right, so enough sucking your dick. This is what we need. This is what we sound like. Here's some mixed references, and yeah, man, it came out like really well, and we're really stoked about it. And what's cool is like, you know, they did that when we did those European dates with Full of Hell. They were supporting Converge on their European dates like shortly before that. So, you know, we got to hear from Full of Hell that like Kurt Ballew's really stoked about how the record came out. He was talking about it. He says he listens to it all the time, and he's hyped to have worked, you know, with the band in our style. And, you know, hearing that from a dude that you've idolized for so long, and it was really cool, man. It was like your dad saying he's proud of you for the first time.
They're Full of Hell is another one of those bands that is abjectly terrifying. Like terrifying. I mean, you don't put that music on to have a good listen. It's like, yeah, again, another band that you're like, how are they going to pull this off live? And then you see all these people filing out with their faces blown off, and it's like, yeah, I guess they do pull it off live. It is them, the body. It's just terrifying live. Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I'd say they sound. I love the records. I think they sound even better live. Like they full on like a live band. Like Dylan is a great showman, great vocalist and performer, and he you can tell he gets into every single song he plays, and it's really dope to watch. Same with Dave, their drummer, dude. He just goes balls to the wall, and it was really sick. And I didn't realize how similar you know, we are as people, you know, and we clicked very well. Like I remember telling Sam and Dave, like, man, like I feel like I grew up with you guys. I feel like you guys, like, because we had the same sense of humor. We were shooting the shit. We both smoke out of apple cores while on the road. So that was cool to find out. And I just remember telling him, I was like, I feel like y'all like grew up on the same street as me. It's crazy.
It's kind of wild.
Why the apple core?
Because it's easy to throw away.
There you go.
Know, you don't have to worry about like a bowl or anything like that. It's the fuzz, like,
yeah,
try to sneak up on you, ditch it, or you can eat it.
There you go.
Yeah, that would be it. Why is this guy eating apples all the time? Well, you know, so vitamin C deficiency. It's a long story. So the new album, new album comes out, and I think it's like 2 weeks, right? It's February 3rd coming out.
Yep. Week from Friday.
Are you guys playing? And I haven't been on the internet in like a fucking week because I've been stuck with work. Are you guys doing like an album release show, an album release tour, anything? Got anything lined up for that?
Yep, we're doing. So we've already announced dates like from February all the way through like May even. But there's 2 separate tours. In February we do a regional run with our friends in Internal Bleeding, Year of the Knife, and Vomit Forth. We're playing Grand Rapids, Michigan, Indianapolis, Indiana, and then Toledo, Ohio, and our hometown show in Columbus, Ohio. So it's 4 shows to support the record. And then in April, we have Chaos and Carnage with Suicide Silence.
Oh, I saw that. That lineup is unreal. It's like Dying Fetus, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy one, man. It's cool because, like, check this out. So I've seen Dying Fetus a shit ton of times growing up, and every time I've tried to see them, I've never been able to get a picture with John Gallagher. He's always kind of like blew off a little bit, or he's just like, I'm busy, I got to get to the van, man, I'm sorry. And I was like, man, that's happened 4 times. And then I'd see friends like get pictures with him. And I'm like, how the fuck did you do that? So now it's cool that we're touring with each other because that dude's not going to be able to escape me.
No, he's
I'm not. You're not leaving, and I'm not leaving with a picture. Like, it's all I want.
It's like you start feeling a certain way after the fourth time. It's like, wait a minute, the fuck is going
right.
on
Like
here?
they go out to the intro to In the Trenches, and Devin just pulls the fucking amp cord, walks over, selfies with him on the stage. It says, "Gotcha, dude." Plugs the guitar back in and walks off stage.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that lineup is wild. I mean, Vomit Forth, they put out an amazing album. We've had Kane on the show. He's hysterical, but he's a madman. And yeah, that Chaos and Carnage lineup is like unreal. But I don't think they're Tim. Are they coming to Philly, or are they doing Sayreville? I think you guys are doing Sayreville instead. I think in New Jersey.
Yeah, we're doing. I think we're also doing Reading or Reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think it comes to because my boys in Mortal Decay were telling me they're going to show up at that show. So
yeah, it's Sayreville. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, Reverb's a great little place to play.
Oh yeah. So
yeah, you know, we're starting to see more shows in Atlantic City. There's a couple of venues popping up in and around Atlantic City and the Jersey Shore that not bad. I mean, I saw who was it? It was Spite Boundaries, Vatican, and
Body Box
at the House of Independence, and that was wild. And Anchor Rock Club has Dying Fetus just played there and a bunch. So there's a ton coming around here. It's just we're convinced, Devin, and I was talking to Rob Wharton from Cognitive about that. He actually lives down the street from me.
I love Rob.
He's the nicest dude in heavy metal. He is so funny. And at like 6'4", he sticks out like a sore thumb. Any show you go to in Philly, you know where Rob Wharton is because he's towering above everybody else. Tim and I are convinced that because Philly has a rep as a hardcore city, we don't get a lot of metal shows. Everybody's playing Reading, or they're playing Sayreville, or they're playing around us. They never really come into the city, which really kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Because some of my favorite death metal bands actually come from New Jersey, man. Like Eternal Suffering. What's it? Shit, I'm drawing a blank. It's a G band. Gortuary.
Okay.
And Mortal Decay. They're all from Jersey. But yeah, it's also a big hardcore band. But like now New Jersey's got like a bunch of art kid hardcore, like bands like Gel and stuff. So
yeah.
Is
that what they call that nowadays? Is it artcore?
I call it that. I call it that because like here in Ohio, no disrespect at all, because there's bands of that style that are sick and they're doing original shit and it's tight, but it's like like here in Ohio, like here in Columbus, we have an art campus, and all these kids that go to school there, they're playing in bands and they're writing songs about like it being hard in the streets and shit. And I'm like, yo, like your mom pays your tuition, dog. Like don't like you don't know what it's like. Like
what are you fucking on about, right? When I think of artcore, I think of who I think of? I think of Imperial Triumphant, because that album was great. They put on an awesome show, but it's definitely three guys who met at art school. It's like, yo, you want to do some weird sort of skronky jazzy metal band with like a art deco aesthetic, and the other two were like, yeah, let's get in on it. I mean, it's great, but that's definitely they have their aesthetic. And if you can't nail the music, I mean, their music is great too. But I've found that if the band's got to have an aesthetic and you got to have a sound, and if you don't have one, you can try and make up for it with the other. I don't want to nuke anybody while we're on recording, but there are some bands that they leaned a little bit too hard into the aesthetic. It's like, why don't you guys learn how to play those instruments, right? Because your double bass player sounds like me, like throwing up. It's slop. It's not good. But yeah, Artie, that's what I think of. Tim, what am I missing here? What questions have I not covered?
Yeah, I just got one more. You still doing the other band? Was it Limb Splitter, right?
Yeah. It's not as active as it's been in the past, just because I'm always so busy. But yeah, I've been playing with those guys since I was I've known those guys since I was like 16. So
Okay.
yeah, when shows do arise, like, yeah, I come in and step up on vocals and stuff with them.
You were doing the band with Jordan too, right? I don't think he's in there anymore, right? What I
Oh
forget
yeah.
what the
Yeah. Yep. Tomb Sentinel.
There you go.
Yep. I'm also in a couple other projects. I'm in a band called Dyskinesia with it's also with Cody and Said from
Okay.
Sanguisugabogg. And then I'm in a band called Skag, which is like a D-beat grindcore band with it's just me and Cody.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ. Everybody nowadays is in like 8 bands.
It's those Midwest guys. It's him and it's Josh Ritter and it's Adam and Jordan. Like in the Midwest, everybody's in 4 different bands. There's 4 different sounds. And it's like, yo, how do you guys find the fucking time? Like,
oh, yeah. Y'all know Josh?
Yeah, yo, we had him on the other week and he had a fake Mike White head that he was interviewing like in the middle of the, oh my God, it was unreal. It was unreal. He's so funny.
Tomb Sentinel, our last show we played with Bather. We actually we practice right across from each other. So
no,
awesome.
Not right across from each other. We share the same jam space as Bather. So
that's awesome. Yeah, he's a funny dude. He's a really funny dude. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned you like crust punk. Did you hear the new Rotten Sound song that came out today? Yo. The loudest band I have ever seen. They played a club that had to be as big as my basement. And I'm standing there and through my jeans, my leg hair is shaking like straight up. They were, and they're these guys they're from Sweden. So they're like, we are Rotten Sound from Sweden, hello, thank you for checking us out. And then they go into this like 200 BPM blast beats. And you're like, yo, what the fuck is going on here? But another band that I think is criminally underrated. They put out great album after great album after great album, and they hit the road and they tour. And yeah, Tim, have you seen them live?
No.
Dude, they played the Barbary, and you could literally see the dirt coming off the ceiling because it was so loud. It was unreal.
Yeah, them and Nazem, from that same, like some of my favorite bands ever, man. We got to play with Rotten Sound in Italy, and was shooting the shit with them, and they shouted us out like 5 times like throughout their set. I was like, yo, they fuck with us. I was like, that's sick.
Awesome.
And the guitars just sound like, it's got that HM2 sound, so it just sounds like a chainsaw going off. And then they brought the house down, man. That we played some festival together in Bologna, Italy, and they destroyed it, man. I love that band. Love all the records too, man. I have like a first pressing of Under Pressure and stuff from them, and I have a couple 7-inches and stuff too. And I really like that band.
I always get them. Is that the band that had the goat in the fucking crowd, or why?
No, that's Wormrot. You always get those mixed up.
Yeah. I always get them 2 bands mixed up.
Every time you think of Rotten Sound, just think of the T-shirt they had, which is their logo, and it says, "What is it? Fast music for slow people." Yeah. Like, I think that's fucking brilliant, right? Or they have the one that's the HM2 pedal and it has Rotten Sound. Yeah. Just Tim. They also play Boot and Saddle in Philly, and it was unreal. Like a band the band of 4 dudes should not be that tight and that loud. And it is amazing.
Just thinking of them playing the Barbary is wild because I've played there many times and that place is fucking small.
Yeah, it was them. It was a crust punk band from Seattle and Chromosome, maybe, and a couple other bands. But yeah, they were ridiculously loud. It was awesome.
That's sick.
It was awesome. All right, Tim, anything else?
No, yeah, let's get them out of here.
Awesome.
So you can end this podcast fucking thing. I'm sure it's annoying at this point.
I've talked to so many mouth breathers tonight. Now I got these fat guys from Jersey. New album is out first week in February, so I think this should be out in time. Everybody check out Sanguisugabogg. They're awesome. Go see them fucking live. Go see them live. It doesn't matter who they're touring with. It is a fun show that you won't regret. On behalf of Tim and myself and all of our fans, Devin, want to thank you for coming on and listening. On behalf of Devin, Tim, and myself, want to thank everybody for tuning in once again. Find us on Instagram, find us on Twitter, find us arguing with people somewhere on r/new metal. Tim is still convinced that fucking Breed the Killers is the best Earth Crisis album, and he's still wrong. So until next time, this is the New Breed Podcast saying peace.
Later.